So some midnight thoughts here. Um, you know, I don't know if you've ever been here or not, but I mean, you've probably liked somebody before, right? I mean, it could be elementary school, middle school, high school, your 20s. I myself just turned 30. There's a lot of women who, at every stage of my life, there's a lot of, when I was when I was a boy, girls, or now that I'm, the age of a man, woman. But there's a lot of members of the opposite sex who people think are so attractive, and they are. They are pretty, they are good looking. But unless I really feel an emotional, like a vibe and an emotional connection with somebody, unless they're very, 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 very smart, like they see and notice things quickly. If I don't want to get too much of on a tangent, but if it's my midnight thoughts, I have the liberty to do so. I think some people that grew up in a traumatic environment, and I'm not talking about any one person, because I've known a lot of people, I've known a lot of girls, women like this. I've known a lot of women like this. They're very sharpened to minor details. If there's a lot of yelling and consequences came very quickly, maybe consequences came very unfairly, maybe to a normal household, consequences would seem like they came unpredictably, but to someone who grew up in that way, you're very sharpened. And it's also, I think, back in the day in the 90s, you had to be on your feet because you step outside your front door, you had to be on your feet. And I'm not talking about any particular gang violence, although there was that too for some people. Luckily, I didn't really face any of that, thank God. But just the street, just the kids on the block would wreck you if you give them the chance. So it's a different time. But again, and also, I think what now is called verbal and emotional abuse back then was not called verbal and emotional abuse. And every household was different. But there's that, and then some of it's just a high IQ. Some of it's just and some people may say, well, that's ADD. Well, that's ADHD. Well, that's hyperactivity. Look, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but I'm just saying there's some people that are really quick, really on the beat, Pete, and there's some people that are not. And I'm not trying to start a war, us against them, or divide us into groups. I'm just saying I've never been able to like a young lady unless she's so quick that you could see lightning in her eyes. And thank God I've met a lot of young ladies like that. And it got me thinking, and this will probably be a YouTube video because it might be too long for Instagram, but I might put it on Instagram. Anyways, doesn't really matter what platform. That's not the topic of the video. It got me thinking how some of the women I've liked, now I'll just say women now that I'm older, right? Some of the women I've liked who I haven't seen, for example, there's a girl I knew in high school. I haven't seen her in 10 years. I haven't known her since high school. If I were to meet her today and she'd say she's single, I don't know if I'd go for her. And it's not like, oh, I'm bitter and resentful because you passed me up and now I'm going to reject you back. It's not, no. And honestly, if I vibed with her, I don't see why I wouldn't go for her. I was crazy about her. I really, 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 really liked her. This one particular girl, Heather Curtis, she knows I liked her. Everyone liked her. And nothing ever happened. All I did was just say hi to her when I saw her in the hallways, ask her how she's doing, and that's it. And she has a child with the high school sweetheart that she found. So, and I know some of you are going to say, well, you shouldn't be saying that if she has a child with another man. You should not be stuck in the past. You're not healthy, Elias. You're insane. You're mentally unwell. You can accuse me of whatever you want to accuse me of. I have a clean conscience. But if I were to meet her today, I can't make a verdict because I haven't met her today. She may be different than I remember her. I know I'm a lot different than I was. And it got me thinking about this concept that I think, but when I knew her in high school, man, I couldn't dream up a more beautiful, perfect, interesting young lady if I had a dream machine. I couldn't fathom a more attractive young lady. Not just looks. She was drop dead gorgeous, but she was so intelligent. And everyone who knew her would attest to this. So intelligent. And personally, I think she was very socially intelligent. And she didn't really care to run in the cool groups or circles or be a party girl, because I think she was so intellectual, she was above all that. Not to say that people who party are dumb or unintellectual, but there's just something exquisite about her. Like, you gotta give me credit. I knew who to like. I wasn't just liking any old random girl. I knew who to like, and she was amazing. And I got to say hi to her, and I'm grateful. But we never dated at all. And of course, I would have loved to have taken her out, but she got us. That's a story for another day, because I remember I was there when that guy swooped into her life with a tremendously humongous pair of balls. That being said, I mean, it should be something any man is capable of doing. He just went for her. He just said, hey. And that's a story for another day. But he definitely was a man about it. Even though we were in high school, he was a man about it. He didn't beat around the bush. She could have said, get out of here. I don't like you. Get away from me. You're a creep. Which I don't think he was being a creep at all. She could have just said, no, I don't like you. No, I don't want to go to the dance with you. She could have, she had her freedom to react however she wanted to react. But she chose to react. Okay, cool. And I don't know if he's the best guy or the worst guy, if he was a healthy guy or not healthy, if he was abusive, if he was not abusive. I'm not claiming he was anything. I just don't know anything really about him much. I did see him very he yelled at his mom and slammed the door of his mom's car. That's all I saw. I saw that randomly. I was like, dang, is that the guy is that Heather's boyfriend? Now, that's not to say that I know more than that. I just saw him do that, and I'm just going off of I just saw him ask Heather to the dance in a really a really epic way, like a storybook, like really cool. It's like, that's a story for another day. And I saw him yell at his mom, slam the SUV car door, slam the SUV door. He was like being dropped off to school, like 2 blocks away from school. I don't know exactly what the situation. Maybe he was mad at his mom at something. I don't know. I'm sure the best of us have been mad at our mothers, and we may have not handled it in a graceful way. But I always got the impression he was a piece of shit. But I never really knew him. That's just the impression I had. That he's very charming, very socially intelligent. But sometimes those are the type of guys that their social intelligence doesn't take away from the fact that they're pieces of shit. But again, am I saying I know he's a piece of shit? No, I'm just making that. I'm just saying that that's the impression that I had of him. But anyways, the point is, you go through life, and there's people that you just rock with, like they just are just the bee's knees. And I realize that, and I hate to look at it this way, but I think it's true, and I could be wrong. And I think that this is not true in every case. But I think a lot of the times the people you like in a certain era of your life, you're meant to meet them, and you're meant to, now it's not to say if one person likes another person, because it has to be both ways, right? The two people have to mutually like each other. So obviously Heather didn't like me or whatever, and that's okay. She has her freedom to. So I'm not saying me and her were meant to be together, but I'm not saying that it wasn't a possibility in this quantum universe of infinite possibilities, that one of the possibilities was that we were meant to be together. And I'm not saying it, again, I'm not saying it like, oh, she needs to be with me, we're supposed to. No, I'm just saying, you got to understand some people are supposed to be with each other. And I don't think you're only supposed to be, how can we live in a quantum universe of limitless possibilities if there's only one person you can like? She could have liked that one dude who asked her to the winter formal when she was a freshman and he was a sophomore. She could have liked me. She could have liked one of the football guys. She could have liked someone that didn't even go to her school. She could have liked, especially a gorgeous young lady like her, she could have liked a lot of different guys. She chose to like someone, and boom. I liked her, but I also liked, later on I met Julianne Barikoff, was a lovely young lady. I had a crush on a girl named Patrice, but we went on like one date. Most of the girls I liked in high school were not interested in me because I was not impressive. And maybe ironically, maybe unironically, I think as an adult, I find myself in the same spot. I'm not impressive. I don't, rock anyone's socks off, knock anyone's socks off. I don't rock anyone's world. Maybe if I do, then maybe I'm not aware, or maybe as an adult, things, I don't know. But I think the people that you run into who you find that you really, really like, I think you're supposed to meet them. And I think there's a universe in which you're supposed to be together with them. And I think the window of time in which you meet them, it's not a split second, but it's a window where you're supposed to meet them at that time. And if both parties feel the same way, you're supposed to get with them at that time, because at that point in your life is an intersection where everything you've been through in life connects with everything they've been through in life. Because if I were to meet Heather Curtis today, I don't know if I'd go for her. She'll always be as beautiful and gorgeous, and she'll always be as intelligent and bright and quick. But I don't know the path she's taken in life from high school till now, and the path that I've taken in life from high school till now. I don't know if we'd enjoy each other's company. And for that matter, I don't know if we ever would have. I never got her on a date, so I think we would have. Because every time I talked to her, I feel like she'd like talking to me. And she was always faithful to her boyfriend. I never got her on a date. And by the way, I think people are really too bent around. Like, I think people are too sensitive about being faithful. Because I think if you have sex with someone else, you've cheated. But I think if you have allowed yourself to cheat, something's wrong with your relationship. You either, XYZ, etc. But the point is, if I were to meet her today, I don't know. And there's, I just think that when you meet someone, you're supposed to meet them. And so here's the other question that we have to, there has to be A plus B equals C, right? We can't just say A is A and wow. I mean, we can just leave it at that. You're supposed to meet people when you meet them. Okay, but what if that was the only thing I came on camera to say? Would it really have been important enough for me to make a video about it? What I'm getting at is, when presented with an opportunity, you should be able to properly respond, to step up to the plate, to answer the call. I think one of the saddest things in life, one of the biggest shames, is not being prepared for when opportunity knocks. I've always wanted to make a lot of money. There's a lot of different business models to make money. And now in this age of the internet, I always see advertisements for learn this business model, learn that business model. And I've wanted to learn a couple of them, and they always require anywhere from, $300, $400, $500 to $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 to get started. Back in the day when I drove for Lyft as a 23-year-old, I paid $1,500 to learn how to do drop shipping, but I never actually did any drop shipping. And I realized I didn't like the business model of drop shipping because I can't have inventory. Nowadays, you can basically do what was the drop shipping model, but you can have inventory in your house. Like, I wanted to sell eyelashes, and I don't feel bad giving away this business idea because, like Ty Lopez has said, the money's not in the idea alone, it's in the implementation of the idea. So if you want to, by the way, the fact is you'd have to build a brand. You're not going to buy peanut butter from, if you saw a jar of peanut butter that had a random label slapped on it, Jimmy's peanut butter, you wouldn't eat that. You know what I mean? Even if there's good eyelashes, you have to have a brand behind the eyelash. So obviously it takes a lot of work and effort to build a brand. And people learn about building brands by building brands. And so I never built a brand, but that was what I was going to drop ship. I was going to drop ship makeup and eyelashes, and I didn't do it. But what I'm getting at is you have to pay anywhere from a couple $100 to a couple $1,000 to learn the business model. Now, I've paid a couple $100 here and there to learn about social media, which ironically, they've caught me a couple key things that are very good to know. but most of it's just pushing me in the right direction, because I just think that most average people, and I hate to say it, but in many ways I have been average in the past. I think average people just don't have the mindset for success. So you don't think of it like, don't just look at the dollar amount you're spending. Like, first of all, realize that every dollar you invest in yourself is just that. It's an investment. And realize that sometimes what you've actually invested into is belief in yourself. And I mean that in a profound way. You've shown yourself through your own wallet that you believe in yourself, but also the programs you buy. A lot of what they do is they push you to believe in yourself, and they give you belief in yourself that you may not even have. So you're gaining belief in yourself externally you're getting it externally. They're giving it to you because they believe in you, even though they don't know you. They made a video presentation, they made a course, they made a thing that you watch, or you usually you watch it, and they're telling you, hey, I know you can do this. I did this. And I'm not saying you have to pay to get that, because there's also videos you could find for free. But I think that when you pay for something, you do pay more attention. And ironically, the course I bought way back when about dropshipping, I don't want to say anything negative. Anyways, but the older I get, and this is not rock, you don't need to watch a video about this to know this, because everybody knows this. The older I get, the more, but it's a vertice, because the older I get, the more money is needed to seal the deal with. Now, if you're a weirdo, or if you're a creep, or if people think you're a bad person, or obviously you should know who you are and not really let who other people might think you are affect you. But you also should ideally come across, if you're a good person, ideally people see you as a good person. Some people have like weird fears and stuff, but like, obviously you should come across well. That's ideal. But I'm saying, maybe, I don't know. I think, and I would like to think, I have the hope, at least the hope, if not the faith, that good people are seen as good people. And if someone's a bad person, then they're seen as a bad person. Sadly, a lot of bad people, they don't, people don't catch it. And sadly, or very strangely, I think, sometimes perfectly good people scare women. But I think that's just mostly like awkwardness or something. I don't know. What am I getting at? What I'm getting at is, you have to know how to talk with women. And there's a lot to that, and I can't even begin to cover it in this video. But with all due respect, I believe I'm one of the people that, because I've always gone up to women that I thought were attractive, or wanted to date, or liked them, and I've just always gone for it, okay? And I've mostly had the wrong strategies in the beginning. And just by doing things the wrong way, not knowing what I was doing, I learned a lot. And at the moment of this recording, I'm actually pretty darn good with ladies. Now, some ladies don't like short people. I'm kind of short. Some ladies might not like guys who have their hairline's receding. Okay, my hairline kind of goes back. Or maybe they don't go for guys with dark hair. I have dark hair, or whatever. Everyone has their type. Everyone has their, stuff that they go for, they like, or whatever. They go for, they don't go for, or whatever, right? But the older I get, the more I realize money is really required. You could love somebody, but because they don't have the money you need them to have, you won't really go anywhere with them. You know what I mean? And the vertice is that at a certain point, nobody gives any fucks anymore. At a certain point in age, love is something that's so precious that you don't give any fucks. But at a certain point in age, people are either too afraid, or they've already, I'm talking about, basically in my mind, I'm talking about like when people are 40. When people are 40, they already have a partner, or they're afraid. Like, say if you're single at 40, you may be afraid to go for somebody. I don't know. I'm making a guess here. Of course, everyone's different, case by case. But I'm just saying, and I don't know, I really see myself getting a young lady when I'm 50, like who's like 20 years old, maybe 22. And you could say that's wrong, whatever. Like we'll have that battle when we get to that. Well, I'll have that battle on social media when I get there, right? People in the comments saying whatever, or maybe they won't even know about it. Maybe she won't even be on social media with me. But and I don't know, but I think it's not wrong if you're not a bad guy. I think if you're a bad guy, it's wrong for a 20-year-old to be with a 50-year-old. But I think if you're a good guy, I don't think it's wrong. But I also think that, the woman obviously, and this is the only way that it would happen, is that the woman wants to. Obviously, what do you think? I'm going to kidnap a woman or something when I'm 50? Kidnap a young lady? No. No one's saying that. I don't know. I don't see how it would be wrong unless there's and I get it, there's a difference in intellect. But let me tell you, young ladies are so sharp. They are so sharp. And a lot of times they whine that they don't have someone to take care of them, or they don't have someone who treats them right. I would both take care of her and treat her right. And then I would probably die way before she did, and then I would leave her everything. So she gets to basically have two guys in her life, because she's gonna get a guy after me. Now, if she was so madly in love that she refuses to date anyone else, then hey, I guess I'll visit her as a ghost or whatever, do the best I can to keep her happy. Of course, as a ghost, I'd be somewhat limited. I don't want to get into the logistics. No, but when you meet someone is when you're supposed to meet someone. And if you really like them, then that's great. And the universe and God and all the above helped you guys meet each other. And, men have to have a pair of balls, but they also have to have their wallets full. That's how life works, Just like we want women to be pretty, and usually they are, whatever that involves. And women usually handle that part pretty well. It's guys these days that are dropping the ball with their finances. And, if I had a shit ton of money and I meet the woman who just lights my world on fire, and she doesn't want me, and I treat her right, and I'm respectful, and I'm not, I'm not too bold, but I'm not too vague. I'm just on the money and just the right temperature, and I'm doing everything right, and I'm treating her with respect, and I'm giving her space when she needs space, and all the things, and I have a shit ton of money, and then she still wouldn't want me, then I don't know. I'd go cry a river. If I really loved her, I'd cry a river. I'd cry 10 rivers. But she has her choices, But if I truly love a woman, and I'm doing everything to treat her right, and to be respectful, and to just be cool, and be genuine, and let whatever's natural come natural, but I don't have money, that's on me. And if she wants to make a choice to go for a guy without money, I wouldn't want my daughter to go for a guy without money. But, we got to do what needs to be done in this life. We will either succeed or fail. I don't have any magic words that can make it all okay, because if that was the case, there'd be no such thing as failure. There may be some things, and I'm not saying if it'll happen or not with you, but I'm saying there may be some things where you fail. And I don't want that for you. I don't wish that for you, but I'm saying it's possible. Maybe you'll never fail. Hopefully you'll never fail. But there may be some things in life where you fail. And I don't want that for you. I don't want that for anybody. Anybody who's good, I don't want them to fail. Who has a good heart, who's a good person. Who's going to determine if we succeed or fail is us. With love, it's very tricky. I don't think you could... It's very tricky to determine what's success or failure with love, because it involves someone else's willpower, which you could never control. But deep down, what they would have to see, or who the type of person you'd have to be. Not to say be a person that you're not, but I'm saying deep down if you're your highest version of yourself, which includes integrity, honesty, being a pure-hearted person, being a all the thing, and including finances. But I'd say with love, do what you can, and do what you can to seal the deal, but also respect the beauty that you don't truly ever fully know what's going to happen because it involves someone else's will. Do everything you can to be the best you can, the person you need to be, and let the beautiful essence of unpredictability manifest itself. And then if the person wants to go for you, beautiful. If they don't, you're going to cry a lot of very, very sweet and bitter tears because you truly loved somebody. But that's part of people's choices. Hopefully they choose you, but also hopefully they choose you if they want to choose you. So there's no such thing as an unhappy ending because, well, there is. Because sometimes people, they deny, sometimes people, I kind of like to think there's no such thing as an unhappy ending, because if someone doesn't want you, they don't want you. It wouldn't be a happily ever after if they choose someone that they don't want. So if they want you, they'll choose you. And if they don't want you, I think the scariest thing to think about is they really want you, but they have some like something that's making them afraid, or they're just they're afraid to, I don't know. That, I guess, it'd be sad if you really love someone and you don't go for someone that you love. That doesn't even really make any sense. And I think it just comes down to, do you want to live a very tragic life of misery and sadness, and regret? Or do you want to live a life of boldness and courage and being true to your heart? And I think we all know which one's the right answer, but we all have our freedom. We could choose to be, like me. Sometimes I get discouraged about love, and I think, oh, I'm just going to ignore all women. And even if I meet someone who's right for me, even if I meet someone who makes my heart sing, I'm going to just ignore. I don't care if they're gorgeous, or if they make my heart sing, or if they feel like they were just meant for me, or like made for me. I'm just going to ignore every woman, the right ones, the wrong ones, all women, because I don't like I don't like getting rejected, or I don't like when women play games with me, or they don't go for me, or whatever, as just some of the things that are on my mind. Sometimes everyone's different. There's probably a lot of the same things that are on your guys' minds too. And I think it's across both sexes. Women don't like to, when the guys don't go for them. Women don't like guys playing. I mean, a lot of it's across the sexes. And I've done that before in my life. I did that very recently, like a year ago I did that. And as soon as I did that, I found someone who lit my world on fire. And I was like, what the fuck? But anyways, I want to keep this video short. Thanks for watching.